Hello, good morning. I'm Caroline, also known as the Yoga Crow, and this morning we're going to be doing some standing stretches. I've got a chair here close by, just so I can show you a few different variations of some of the yoga poses. We often do on the floor or on the mat. And you might also be able to use a sofa or a table or even a kitchen worktop. So I'm just going to pop that out of the way a little bit to begin with, and we're going to come to standing in mountain pose. So I teach this with a little bit of a distance between the feet. So they're parallel, the toes are pointing forwards, and there's a softness in the knees. So we're trying not to lock the knees. There's a gentle bend there. And then from there, I'm gonna reach up with my shoulders, roll them all the way back and down. So there's straight away, the shoulders and the shoulder blades are drawing down the back of my body. Got a lovely openness across the chest, and the hands are down by the sides of the body. And then I'll invite you to close your eyes. And if you prefer to keep your eyes open, keep that length in the spine, length in the neck, and just look towards the floor. So the gaze can fall softly towards the floor. So we're imagining we've got that lovely length up through the spine. We're tall, we're long. Shoulders are soft but drawing down. And we're going to take a moment to connect through our feet. So just noticing our body weight over both feet. Does it feel even? Lifting all the toes, spreading the toes, and bringing them back down. So a strong, stable base for a strong and stable pose, Tadasana. Starting to connect with the breath. Breathing in and out through the nostrils if that's possible today. Breathing into the belly, into the lungs and into the upper chest. So a full, complete yogic breath. Keeping the breath long and even. Noticing if your breath feels restricted at all today, long, short. Not bringing any judgment to that, just noticing. Noticing the quality of the breath, how it feels. Taking 3 long, slow breaths here. Gently tucking the chin into the chest, opening the eyes if they're closed, and bringing the head back up to center. So as with any morning practice, we take it gently and slowly. The body's not had the rest of the day to warm up, find movement. So to begin with, we're going to move our neck. So I'm slowly looking over my left shoulder. My feet haven't moved, I'm still in that strong Tadasana pose. Coming through center and looking over my right shoulder. Notice that there's a difference between the two sides. And slowly coming back through center again. We'll bring the head back down towards the chest and just allow it to rest, the chin in that notch there, jugular notch in between the collarbones. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Creating a very gentle stretch in the back of the neck, tops of the shoulders. We're coming back up to center, and then we're going to look up to the ceiling. We're going to take the head back, but not all the way back, just gently creating a little bit of stretch across the throat. And then coming back down to center. And we'll take the left ear to the left shoulder. And then the right ear to the right shoulder. And gently coming back up to center. Still having that softness in the knees, the feet are parallel. We're going to breathe in and reach up. And as we breathe out, we're reaching over to the right hand side. So reaching through the fingertips. Encouraging the chest to be open. It's almost like we're rotating up towards the ceiling. Slowly coming back up to center, and we'll go down over to the left hand side. And coming back up to center and bringing the arms back down to the sides of the body. So just creating a bit of stretch there down the lateral stretch down the sides of the body, waking up the whole body this morning. We're going to take our hands, clasp them together. We're going to reach them away and stretch the fingers. It's a really simple finger stretch, which is great at any point during the day, particularly if you've been typing a lot on the laptop or using a phone. Any other device, a really good one to stretch the fingers out. And then we'll release that. And we're going to clasp the hands again and take them above our head. And if you can, see if you can clasp them a slightly different way. So how I often describe it is one hand slots into the other, and then I take that hand down one. It'll feel a bit odd, reaching away with the fingers, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and then reaching up to the ceiling. And then allowing the hands to come back down the sides of the body. I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see me. My feet are still hip distance apart, or roughly hip distance apart. Toes are parallel, feet are parallel. Taking the hands, either clasping them again, or you can take opposite hold of on opposite wrist. And we're going to reach down towards the floor. And you'll see straight away, my shoulders are opening a little. And I've got a little bit more space across the tops of the shoulders, trying not to push the belly out. There's still a softness in the knees. Maybe taking the arms out a little bit further. And then allowing that to go. We'll do cat-cow now, but standing up. So you might be familiar with this pose already. We're going to breathe in to look forwards and take the belly almost forwards, shoulders back. And breathing out to curl the shoulders round. So it's like we're pulling the shoulder blades apart. Chin is coming into the chest, hands are hanging. Breathing in to open the chest and the shoulders, palms facing out. Breathing out to curl all the way around, chin to chest. and a strong stretch between the shoulder blades. We'll do that 3 more times, working with your breath. So trying to make the movement last as long as each breath, whether that's the inhalation or the exhalation. And the last one. And coming back to center. We're going to do a very gentle twist now. So I'm going to take my right hand to my left hip and turn to look over my left shoulder. So I've still got that hip distance and balance between the feet, softness in the knees, creating a rotation through the spine, a twist in the spine, massaging the spine, all the way up to the crown of the head. And slowly coming back to center, and then taking my left hand to my right hip, looking over my right shoulder, and only looking as far as feels comfortable for the neck. So that might be very different on each side. And then slowly coming back to center. So we've worked quite a lot with the upper body. We're going to start warming up the legs and the hamstrings now. If you do have a chair or something you're working near, just have it within hand's reach. So coming back to that hip distance stance, the feet are parallel, toes are pointing forward, lifting the toes and spreading the toes, and have a bit more of a bend in the knees here. We're going to bring our hands to our hips, and as we breathe in, we're going to breathe out and fold forwards, and we're leading with the heart. So we're trying to get the heart towards the chair. It just encourages us to fold from the hips rather than the waist. So maybe the hands come on the thighs, remembering to bring the shoulders away from the ears. The crown of the head can reach down towards the floor. If you prefer, you can have the hands holding opposite elbows. But making sure the head and the neck are relaxed, so gently shaking the head no, nodding it yes. Remembering the shoulders drawing away from the ears. A bend in the knees, and if the hamstrings are tight this morning, increase that bend. Bend a little bit more. Wherever you are, reaching up through the sitting bones towards the sky. Lengthening the hamstrings. Bending into the knees, and we're going to slowly push through the feet to come up to standing. We're going to do exactly the same thing with crossed legs now. So I'm putting my left foot almost in the center of my body and then bringing my right across my left. So we almost have the big toes are level. Naturally, my body's wanting to turn towards the left-hand side. So I'm encouraging my hips to be level and to face forwards. And this is where the chair might be handy, or the sofa, or whatever you've got in front of you to reach for. We're going to breathe in and fold forwards like we just have. So leading with the heart, coming all the way forwards. And maybe that's enough. And you can bring the hands to your prop, your support. Maybe you rest your head on your prop, your support. Or maybe you bring the hands to the floor or hold opposite elbows. So we're getting into the IT band here. The IT band is connective tissue that runs along the outside of the legs, from the hips down to the ankles. So if you run or cycle particularly, this can be quite tight. And if it is, knowing that if you come a little bit further up, it'll just ease off a touch. So in yoga, we're aiming to breathe through the stretches we feel, we encounter. And the breath shouldn't change. So we know if we've gone too far, if the breath changes, if we're holding the breath, or if it feels labeled at all. To come up, bringing the hands to the hips, breathing in, pushing through the feet to come up slowly. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'm putting my right foot almost in the center of my body, bringing my left across my right. My toes are roughly, my big toes are roughly parallel level. Breathing in, breathing out to fold forwards, bringing my hands to my prop, if that feels good. Maybe coming a little bit further, if that feels possible. And both sides will feel different. So we have this anatomy and physiology in each and every one of us that is different on both sides. We're all unique in our bodies and our skeleton, but we'll find there's differences on our left and right side. And that's very much to do with the fact that we're not symmetrical, but also to do with the fact we might be dominant on one side. Remembering to breathe through the stretch if you feel some tightness, some tension. And then slowly coming back up. We're going to come into a downward facing dog now, and I'm going to use the chair. So I'm going to recommend using the prop if you haven't already. Downward facing dog is obviously a triangular shape. Our sitting bones are the top of that pose, or they're reaching up to the sky. So they're the kind of top point of the pose. And it's very much about finding some length in the back. And this is a lovely way to do the pose. It's very supportive. So you can have the hands flat on a chair, on a table, or holding opposite sides of that prop. And then from here, reaching back the toes. The feet are still hip distance apart as they would be in downward facing dog. And I've found some length in my back. So it might be you want to go further back. It might be you want to come forwards a little bit. We're looking at finding some length in the back and the spine. Wherever you are, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. The inner elbows are pointing in towards each other and my ears are in line with my arms, my upper arms. Breathing here. Having that softness in the knees, so trying to avoid locking the knees. It's like a micro bend in the knees. And if you've got uneven weight distribution over both feet, making sure the knees haven't collapsed in towards each other. And then slowly walking the feet forwards and coming up to standing. It can be quite a strong stretch in the back in the mornings, especially if we've not warmed our bodies up completely yet. But it's lovely to do. And I sometimes do that on a kitchen counter. It feels great. We're going to come into pyramid pose next. So again, recommending a chair or a table nearby to use as a prop to come to. My right foot is pointing forwards. My left foot has come out at about 30 to 45 degrees. My heels are in line, and you'll notice it's not a particularly wide stance. My hips facing forwards towards that right leg, and both legs are straight. Now, to keep our knee safe in pyramid pose, we need to think about the quadricep muscles, which are the muscles at the front of the thighs, and to engage those. Sometimes I describe it as lifting the kneecap. Can you lift the kneecap? Sometimes it helps to describe it as tensing these muscles, and you'll notice there's movement in the muscles and in the kneecap rising. So keeping that engagement of the quads, we're going to take our hands on our hips. We're going to breathe in. And we're going to breathe out, we're folding forward. So again, we're leading with the heart. So we fold from the hips. And maybe you're coming to here, making sure the gaze is towards the floor. So there's no strain on the neck. The neck is in line with the spine. We still want that weight distribution to be even between the feet. And we're encouraging the left hip forwards and the right hip back. We want to try and think about the pelvis being level, being even as well. If this feels okay for the hamstrings, then maybe you can come and bring your hands a little bit lower, either holding opposite elbows or taking the hands to the floor if you can reach. Encouraging the shoulder blades down the back. Openness in the chest, making sure the chest hasn't collapsed. Space for the breath. And then to come up, we're going to bend into that right knee. If you've got the prop handy, come up one level and then breathing in to push through the feet to come all the way up to standing. We'll come on to the other side. So this time the left foot is pointing forwards and the right foot is turned out towards the right hand side 30 to 45 degrees, encouraging the hips round. We want our hip bones, we call them the iliac crests. Sometimes you can call them traffic lights or headlights. They are shining forwards. And we want to think again about the weight distribution between both feet. So it's even. Sometimes we rock into the big toe side of that back foot. So really thinking about using that whole foot, both feet, keeping a stable stance. So pyramid pose, we want to think about the quads next. So engaging those quad muscles as we did on the other side, lifting the kneecaps, bringing the hands to the hips, breathing in and breathing out, folding forwards, coming to a chair to begin with. So remembering in yoga, it's never about how far you come. There's different variations of each pose, each asana. So it very much depends on our bodies on that day, in that given moment, on our mat, when we're practicing. Some days will be very, very different. Encouraging the right hip forwards, the left hip back. Still thinking about the quadricep muscles at the front of the thigh, still using those to protect the knees, bring strength and stability to the legs. And then maybe you're able to come a little bit further down, knowing that it's going to feel very different on both sides. So one side, you may well bring the head down, the fingers, hips to the floor, and on the other, it might just be that you need to hold on to your support or rest with your support. Wherever you are, just encourage the shoulders to draw away from the ears. We're leaving or allowing that space in the upper chest with the belly a little bit squashed as we folded forwards. We're using the lungs for the breath. Breathing into the sides and the back of the lungs. To come up, bend into that left leg, push through that left leg, that left foot to come up to standing. And then we'll finish standing maybe a little bit wider than hip distance apart and bringing our hands to our belly. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Again, there's still a bit of a softness in the knees. Finding your comfortable position, lifting the toes up, spreading the toes out. And breathing into the belly. So with the hands on the belly, we can really connect with the breath, reconnect with the belly breath. Breathing into the belly and breathing out. Keeping that length through the spine, through the neck. Shoulders are drawing down. We're going to take 3 breaths here and sigh the breath out. As we breathe in, reaching up with the shoulders. So the shoulders are coming towards the ears. Gently opening the eyes. Making any small movements you need to. And noticing how you feel. Bringing the hands together to heart center. Joining both halves of the body together. Notice any changes in the body after Just 25 minutes of yoga. Is there more space in the shoulders, space in the chest for the breath, length in the legs, length through the spine. I'm going to take my hands up to my forehead to remind us to have kind thoughts, to my lips to remind us to have kind words, and back down to my heart center to remind us to have kind actions. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for a short yoga class today. I hope you enjoyed that class. Simple, but able to stretch through the whole body. I'm Caroline. If you want to find out a little bit more about me, you can go to my website, theyogacrow.com. And please do click the thumbs up if you enjoyed that session and click subscribe. There's a little blue crow in the bottom right-hand corner and you'll get notifications when new classes are streaming live or uploaded onto my YouTube channel. Otherwise, it's bye from me for now.